Today's feature, Big Guns by Williams, a game that I am ready to sell, and I've got her wide open so you can see everything underneath. And I'm going to walk through and do a little preview of this game before I sell it. Some of the games that I have, I go all out and do this major restoration. You know, I paint the light board, all the boards are removed and cleaned. I might even replace the aluminum on the back plane. Sometimes this one here would not be that case. This one is not one that needed tremendous amount of work whenever I got it, but it had definitely been on the road and been used and played a lot. It just hadn't really been abused. It hasn't ever been left in a barn, let's say, or something like that. But anyway, interesting game. It just hasn't gripped me as a long time keep forever game, and therefore I really didn't do a whole lot to it. Let's review this game. I'm going to start with the electronics first. So here on the light board, everything looks fine. Nothing seems out of place, and it all works fine. We have these 5 switches that have to do with this little pachinko game that goes on up above here on the other side. And then there's our little shooter coil that fires that little ball that's here in the light board. Let me show it to you. So if you've never seen behind the glass of a Big Guns, this is what you have. I do remember years ago cleaning this and then, of course, putting LEDs all over it. So we have LED flashers. There's just a tremendous amount of money wrapped up in just LEDs in this game. There's so many, and they do look great. But gosh, there's just so many flashers, and lamps are pretty much normal, but lots of flashers. Soundboard over here, nothing interesting to say about that. I can't really tell you much because I don't think I've ever had to work on it. Over here on the right-hand side, upper right, that's our power supply board. And you can see in the high voltage section, it's a little warm up there, but where it has been warm up there, we don't care anymore because this game is running LEDs. So the entire display is this very expensive LED board. What else to say? I don't even think I recall replacing the 5-volt capacitor on that board. And so if memory serves correctly, that's this guy here. It probably needs to go and be replaced. And yeah, I don't think it's ever been touched. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, some might say. I would say eventually it needs to be replaced, and I would put that on my to-do list if I was going to keep it. GI over here, general elimination. Look how that has been burnt up and has been replaced with this connector. I don't know where that came from. I don't think I've ever done such things. So maybe when I purchased this, that had already been done. No problem with heat anymore with the general elimination circuit because it's all LED, so the current is down tremendously, probably around 15% of original. Over here on the driver board / CPU board combo, we'll call it System 11. Here is NVRAM. So no batteries to worry about. Looks like the last time I installed batteries, no batteries, NVRAM installed 419. So while there's no battery holder there, you'll note there's a battery holder up here. So I'm going to unscrew that before I sell it just because I don't want it to be confusing to anybody. And that ought to keep things simple. I'm looking at transistors that might have popped ever. And just at a glance, I don't see anything that appears like it has been replaced. So same over here, all that looks fine. I do see some work that's been done here, not by me. I believe I purchased this just like that. So somebody did a little work there, but it wasn't me. Not that I remember anyway. Let's see. Okay, this board over here, this kind of big fat interconnect is clean, looks very clean. And that pretty much gives us the tour of what's here inside the head. And as I mentioned, we have some LED displays here. Speakers are all stock. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put this back together. I do want to mention, since we are looking at this translight, you'll notice that it's very white in the white areas. There's no browning. And that's because this is a new translight. So the translight's been replaced. The display's been replaced. It's got NVRAM and LEDs everywhere. And anyway, that stuff you will not have to worry about. Okay, we're back looking at the back glass here. I did not replace the actual glass itself. I think most of these back glasses are okay unless somebody has removed it and had it laying around in a pole barn or some shop or something, and it's been kicked around. Let's look at the cabinet for a second. This piece right here, the H channel, I would call that, and then the bottom piece here, both of those really could be painted. If I was going to continue working on this, in fact, I probably would have had them powder coated yellow whenever I decided to do the rails on the side and the legs and the coin door. But for whatever reason, I think maybe my opinion was that the yellow might be too bright. So keeping that black would have been better. I had plans on potentially re-stenciling. Now you'll see some flat black up in here. This looks like flat black where it's a little bit maybe semi-gloss here. That's not me. I don't recall doing any of this work because I could not stand that sheen if I had done that. That's just me. But I would say it probably looks better than how it looked whenever the individual before me owned this. That person, as I recall, he was not a pinball person, but he loved pinball. And whenever I bought it, I think his wife was making him sell it. So this is a long time ago, maybe even 12 years ago. I can't remember. You see that I'll tell you what I've done besides the NVRAM and overall cleaning and LEDing the game. I did the legs. So the legs are powder coated. Those are not spray painted, so they're very strong. Use an industrial powder coating source for this. Side rails are here. Now the side rails have these, what are these? Zinc plated screws on them instead of the original nails. And then you can see the black bolt here, carriage bolt. Those are painted black, or those are painted black. Those are not powder coated. So they could be scratched up. But anyway, my point here is that with these screws, I would probably pepper them with black. I think it would look pretty cool to do them in black, or maybe even in a red that matches the cabinet. Let's go on around the game for a sec. Coin door. So the coin door is powder coated, and here was the deal on this. So these rejects work, but the deal is the little caps that go on top. Whenever I started this whole coin door bit here, I was sure I could get replacements, and I pulled these off. This is a stupid move by me. I pulled these off and threw them away. So I don't have them. They do not exist. Now they're out there, but you're gonna have to buy them used because I don't think anybody is reproducing them. So you can put a sticker on those that show 25 cents, but just want you to know they're not there. Other side of the cabinet, again, there's some little scratches and things like that, maybe some touch-up points that somebody has done, but not terrible on the body. The head here, worst spot is probably right here, and maybe on this side, where it's just got some bumps and bruises. All those heads, before collectors got a hold of them, they just beat them to death. So anyway, that's what we're looking at on the game's cabinet. Playfield-wise, let me turn on the game, and let's just walk around it. The game has been LED'd, as you can see. And so back here, I have a little light strip that's a Comet LED light strip because I wanted to light this one up as red. And then on the other side, I did a little Comet LED strip that's green because that's the green side. So kind of matching the stationary targets. Everything LED'd in the game, as I've mentioned. Now look at the playfield condition. It is a player's game. There's not chunks of anything out, full Mylar, although that's always a lie when people say full Mylar because we have areas that are not Mylar, like that triangle insert up there where load gun is starting to wear. And we have areas outside of Mylar like that one that says load gun. And over here, you see it's supposed to say when lit. So we're missing the when lit over here. And then of course down in this area, extra ball, and then previous owner has done sort of a matte black paint there to cover up some woodware. Does it help? Yeah, it certainly helps, but it might be annoying to somebody. So anyway, I like to disclose every little thing on the game, and that's what I'm doing here. With the lights out, it looks pretty good. I can't tell you the white color that I use, but as I'm looking at it, I feel like it's a natural white. It's certainly not an off-white, at least in my eyes today. but I think it fits the theme very good. The back glass is lit up very nicely with all those LEDs, and the flashers can easily be seen whenever it takes off with flashers. Okay, so gameplay wise, I want you to notice that the drop target in the upper right hand corner, that 3-bank, is down. I'm going to start a game. Okay, so what's happening there? We have a little lift. It's a 3-bank drop target lift, plastic. And it is not holding those drop targets up. And I believe that's Steve Ritchie's voice that just did that. And while I care, I don't care enough anymore. I'm tired of... Actually, I have too many projects going on, and this one is just not one that I care to get back to. It's ready to play, and you can play the game, of course, without that drop target bank operating. I'm trying to open the coin door to get to some 3D printed drop target lifts, if you want to call them that. 3-bank drop target lift channel or plastic. And so that comes with the game. Now there's one already that's been epoxied to it, and it doesn't seem to hold it up, but mechanically if you take it all apart, and it's going to require a couple of hours, and I really don't have the time or desire to mess with it anymore. So that's the deal on the left side, or I mean on the right side. On the left side, you'll find that the center drop target falls slowly, and that's because the 3-bank bracket had been, the screws had been stripped out of it, and so I had to re-tap it with bigger screws. So I used number 8s, and they're a little long, so anyway, they're pushing through just a little bit to slow down the descension of that middle target. So if anybody wants to do some 3-drop target rebuilds, here's some candidates for you. They're not terrible. The Playfield swivels all the way up, and you can work on it, but I just don't care anymore. Let's go through the game though real quick. Flippers are strong. So let's do some locking of balls. There's how you lock the first ball. Way easier for me to do this way than in real life. Here's the left side. And now we're ready to load the gun here in the top middle. So what I want to do is, if you've never seen this game, it's crazy. I'm going to throw one over here. Now notice that the ball did kick over into this right gun. Let me throw it in there. Well, I waited too long. It was doing a ball search. So the game's smart enough to do a ball search, right? And now it sees all 3 balls back in the trough. So let's try that whole thing again. There's my 3-bank popping to try to reset. It will not hold up, so it gives up after 3 tries. That's in the code. I'll lock another ball here. It kicks over to the right cannon. I'll lock one on the left. It kicks over to the left cannon. And now we're ready to shoot that one in the middle. So let me hit a couple switches. I'll throw it over into this gun just to show you the launch. It launches right through the wire form up there. Let's try that again. So what a neat design. It's a lot of fun. And we'll let it go crazy when I load the middle. We'll get this post up here. And now they'll come out like crazy. Pretty cool stuff. It's going to load, kick out the one on the left and the right away. And then you have the middle one. Now the goal here, the goal the whole time is to take down these soldiers. And whenever you do that, we have rescued the queen. The king's chamber up there will do its thing. It's just doing a ball search. Let's load up again. I'm making people sick with this video. Pretty neat game. Everything's working except for that drop target bank up there on the right hand side, which can be a real pain. to repair. So I've just kind of let it go. See, this is really bright up there. All right, let's see what's underneath the cabinet, underneath the playfield, I mean. So let me take a moment to pause and I'll go into that. All righty, inside the game, dusty. No signs of any water damage, just dirty. So in a higher end restoration, I would scrub this and sand it and vacuum it and repaint the bottom. If somebody just wanted to clean it up down there, you certainly could with some light sanding and maybe even just a paintbrush and a vacuum cleaner. Let's take a look at this drop target mechanism. The one on the right here, this is the one that keeps resetting and it won't hold the drop targets up. This one is the one on the left-hand side, which does function, but I had to work out the coil stop, which is way back there, by using larger bolts. It's functional and it works fine, but those bolts come through this plate just enough to make it a little difficult for that middle target to come down. So there's our upper flippers, the left and the right. The right one has a little bit of heat. As you can see, that it probably occurred because there was a problem with the end of stroke. That's what I'm trying to say, end of stroke switch. So we have the end of stroke switch open here, but at some point it probably was not adjusted properly. Let's move on up. Those catapult coils are on the left and right, so pretty symmetrical game. Here are the stationary targets here and here. We have lamps that are inside printed circuit boards. Moving on up, there's the center cluster of lamps. We have a couple of these guys here, flashers. And then all the way up are flipper coils. Now, I'm looking at this. I can't remember what kind of rebuild work. It does not look like any of this has been rebuilt in a while. That is awfully shiny. So it might be that just this plunger has been changed out on each of these. I bet coil stops, maybe. And coil stop, maybe. Let's look down this one. Hard to say. I can't tell you. I don't remember. Here's our center plastic that lifts up to save you. You're infinite there for a while, or invincible, I mean. That's it. I mean, the underneath of the playfield, it's a little dusty and a little dirty. Everything is functional though, except for that hold on these. Whenever this plunges, and it might even be that coil sleeve could maybe even be trimmed back, but I know it's there to try to help stop it, and it also has its coil stop up there to stop it as well. So I don't know if you'll get any more out of it or not, but maybe even a little bit could help that. That's about it. We have a manual and these pretty printed plastic lift. That's for the 3-bank drop target lift channels. And those are on the other side of this metal where that little bracket is. The printed circuit board uses U-shaped optos to register the drop targets when they go up and down. And those all work fine. They're definitely registering. One other weird thing I noticed is if you look at the connector here, you have on the short connector, someone, and this one wasn't me either, they used this 3-pin connector. It's more of a Molex style instead of using the traditional one that we see on the left. So very strange. It fits just like that and it does work, but the assumption is somebody repinned it and did not have the proper connector, which would have looked like the one on the right here. So, oh, and there's a little bit of tape there on some wires. So, you know, whenever you buy a game like this, you inherit stuff. This is not something that was inherited. This is mine. This is me grabbing a lamp to activate the right side LED strip. And this is my work here, activating the left side LED strip. So that is my stuff. But the rest of this stuff was inherited, and I just did any kind of repairs that I needed to make the game function properly. So that's really all we've got here to talk about big guns. I'm not Todd Tuckey. I don't have a camera person, and there's no jokes to really be made here today. The game is a pretty fun System 11 game, and it is an important part of history, and there's some discussion about that you can find all over the internet. It's got the largest head. If you compare that to this Pinball over here, or if you compare it to the Swords of Fury over there, obviously this is a really tall, big-headed game. But neat history, some very nice and wonderful people involved in the design of this game, and unfortunately one of them, Python, no longer with us. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it.